Distribute and combine. Example 1. Solve for m in the equation below. But before we do that, let's go over a few things. Before we can solve this equation, we must simplify the left and the right sides. And so one way to do this will be to distribute and then we're going to combine like terms. And to distribute, we take the outside number and we're going to go ahead and multiply it to each of the numbers in the parentheses. So let's go back to the example to see how we would actually do this. So we have on the left-hand side, we can see that it's actually already simplified and combined because we only have a number and then we have the number with the variable. So they're different. So let's go ahead and do the right-hand side. So what we need to do is distribute this outside term, the 2m, and we're going to do that by multiplying by the 6 and multiplying it by the 9. So let's go ahead and rewrite it first, and then we'll multiply. So let's go ahead and now multiply it by those two terms. So now we have 33 minus 3m, still on the left-hand side. Now 2m times 9 is equal to 18m. Then we have 2m times the 6. So 6 times 2 is just 12. So we have plus 12m. Now we've distributed. Now we need to combine like terms. So let's go ahead and do that on the right-hand side first. So we have 18m plus 12m. So this will have a big arrow. All of this becomes 33 minus 3m. So 18 plus 12 is 30m. Now what we need to do is we need to get m all by itself on one side of the equal sign. So what we're going to do is actually add 3m to both sides, because whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. This gets rid of it on the left-hand side, so we're just left with the number 33. Now we have 30m plus 3, so that equals 33m. So the next thing we do is to get m by itself, we need to divide. So we divide by 33 on both sides. This just becomes 1. So now it's just m on the right-hand side. And now 33 divided by 33 is equal to 1. So therefore, m equals 1. And that would be the solution to this problem. So let's go ahead and look at another example. Now we need to solve for v in the equation below. And you can see on the left-hand and the right-hand side, we will have to distribute and combine like terms before we go ahead and start solving. So let's first rewrite this. So we have 2 times 1 minus 3v, which is equal to 6 times 2v minus 6 plus 2. Now the first thing we do if we start with the left-hand side is we're going to multiply this 2 times both terms. Let's go ahead and do that. So we have 2 times 1, so that's 2. Now 2 times negative 3v is minus 6v. And then therefore we've taken care of the left-hand side. So now we have an equal sign. Now we're going to need to multiply that 6 by the 2v and then the negative 6. So 6 times 2v is 12b. Now 6 times negative 6 is minus 36. And then we have just this plus 2. So now we've distributed. Now we can combine like terms on both sides of the equal sign before we start solving. So we're going to do this big arrow to say that this is the new line. And here we go again. So now let's simplify. So the 2 minus 6v will stay as is. And now we just have one 12v on the right hand side, and then we have two numbers. So what we need to do is combine these together. So we just have 12v. Now we have 2 minus 36. So if you're not sure, let's add our calculator. So what we can do is we have 2 minus 36, which equals negative 34. So, or minus 34. And so now the next step will be is to solve for v. And so how we do that is we need to get v on its own. So the first thing we can do is we're going to add 34 to both sides. This gets rid of it on the right hand side, so we're just going to start isolating v on the right hand side. So now we have 2 plus 34, which is 36, minus 6v equals 12v. Then the next thing will be is to add 6v to both sides. So then we get v's all on the right hand side. So this becomes 0. So we're left with 36 on the left hand side. Now 12 plus 6 is 18, and it's v. Then the next step will be is to divide by 18 on both sides. These just become 1. And if you're 36 divided by 18, which is equal to 2. So that means v is equal to 2, and that would be our solution to this problem. Now let's go look at another example. Use the equation below to solve for the following. So let's go ahead and rewrite it. So let's first distribute. So we have 70x. Now 20 minus 20 times negative 2 is minus 20, which is equal to minus 18x minus 5. So let's go ahead and add 18x first, because you can do either way you want to start. So we're going to get the x's all on the left hand side. This gets rid of it here. So now we're left with 88x minus 20, which is equal to negative 5. So the next step would be to add 20 to both sides. It gets rid of it on the left hand side, so we're isolating x. So I have 88x, which is equal to, so 20 minus 5, which is 15. Now the next thing we do is we're going to divide by 88 on both sides. This gets rid of it over here. And so we're left with x is equal to 15 over 88. And that would be our solution to this problem. So let's try to do one last example. So here we have this. So let's go ahead and distribute, and we'll rewrite it like this. So we have 7 times 2x, so that's 14x. Now we have 7 times this negative 6, so that's minus 42. And then we have plus 2, which is equal to 5x minus 1. So the first thing we do is we're going to combine like terms so we can add these together. So we're left with 14x minus 40, which is equal to 5x minus 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to go minus 5x on both sides. Let's get rid of on the x's on the right hand side. So we're left with just negative 1. So now we have 14 minus 5x, so it's 9x minus 40, which equals negative 1. Then what we'll do is we'll just add 40 to both sides, start isolating, this x. This just becomes 0, so we're left with 9x, which is equal to 39. And then to get x all by itself, we'll divide by 9 on both sides. So therefore, x is equal to 39 over 9. But 39 over 9 is actually not its reduced form. We can actually simplify this a little bit further, as both 39 and 9 are multiples of 3. So what we can do is that x then becomes 39 if we divide by 3 on the top, and then we divide by 3 on the bottom. We're left with 39 divided by 3, because we're taking out a whole factor out. So 39 divided by 3 is equal to 13, and then 9 divided by 3 is just 3. So therefore, it's 13 over 3. Now, if it also helps, you could have done it like this. 39 is really 3 and 13, and 9 is just 3 over 3. And so what you could have just done, instead of doing this divide by 3, is, since you know they're both factors of 3, was to do the prime factorization of both the numbers, and then we would just divide out common factors on both the top and the bottom, which gets us to 13 over 3.